All right. Friday pre-open house. I kind of like that I did this because now it means that we're getting stuff done. I got to put a little pressure on the people, on the contractors, and that made them actually do the work. And so they have a deadline that they're working towards. So looks like we're going to get the paint should be relatively buttoned up. They'll finish it up on Monday, I think, but they have to do baseboards and door frames and stuff like that. But so who knows how long that'll take. But hopefully next week we can start moving stuff in there for real. Open house is tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I think we got lots of parking figured out. And if everybody keeps saying, well, what are you going to do for people for food? It's from 10 to 2. So here's a strategy. Eat at 10 and eat at 2. Seems like a good strategy to me.
A late breakfast and an early lunch.
Let's say you want to hang out all day. Come at 10, hang out till noon, go get some lunch up the street here, come back for the end of it. So, that's the plan. I'm not your freaking mom. I'm not here to, babysit you. We're just opening it up and hang out, and we got. I can't believe how much cool stuff I've got. Like no sales pitch here, but like I didn't realize I had so much stuff that I was going to clean out to sell. It's like
there's a lot.
500, 600, 800 things. It's crazy. We got Sonic tools. I've got a lot of the stuff is tester stuff or stuff from giveaways that. Or audio equipment and demo things we need to take pictures of. That I can only have so many speakers. I really don't want to give up any of the speakers. I want to have them all, but I only got like 2 rooms to put it in. So I got Dynaudio stuff that was like a one-time, just open for the pictures, and so we're gonna have all kinds of. I can't advertise the Dynaudio stuff because it's it's stuff that we're selling in the store, but since it's open. I have to sell it, as an open box item, and not a regular stock wouldn't be on sale. And then of course you can buy whatever you want here too. But in the regular store, then everybody's going to be running around helping everybody buy stuff if you want it. But the main thing is just to get like-minded people together. So if you're thinking of driving up or in or down or left or right or wherever you're coming from, I think it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, if you're into tools, you definitely need to come.
Those Milwaukee's are going to last about 25 seconds.
Yeah,
but
those are.
Yeah, and
those
if we have some stuff left, we'll put it on the website. But it's for people coming to the event. So
so if you're not coming, don't ask us to sell it to you and ship it.
Yeah, not yet.
Afterwards, we'll see what we have left.
Yeah, I'll post it on Instagram or something. We'll do or something like that.
All right, let's see here. We got. Did you see today's thumbnail? I'll bring that up for you here in a minute. Here.
No.
But I saw you or someone posted the picture of Kate wanting people to be here. So MX304 says, is Kate the Savage going to handle all the customer complaints tomorrow at the open house?
Yeah. She will not take any crap from any of you losers. Yeah.
That's good stuff. Lots of people looking forward to the EAG E46 M3. I guess that was that video.
I had a dream last night that I woke up and it had like 1.5 million views for some reason. And it didn't.
So, it's short.
It has like 8,000 views or something like that. I had this dream that I woke up and all of a sudden it went viral. It was 19,000 views.
Yeah, that's
not
good.
Bad. It's good for me. Good for me I'm like bug repellent for people. Right? It's only a certain type of insect that is attracted to my nonsense. And I like to think that we're a higher level insect than the rest of the bug repellent that I'm using to keep the weirdos away. Although I did get a phone call yesterday. I sometimes I can sense it. I'm like, let me just answer because I get probably 6 or 8 phone calls from phone numbers I don't recognize that don't look like a normal spam number, and they're usually some weird dude who bought a coupler, and sure enough, it was a plug. So the guy bought a plug for $15.
Okay.
And he canceled it. He sent an email to support and canceled it, and wanted to be sure with me that he should cancel it because his Walmart pressure washer, he wasn't really sure. It was measuring 13.8 millimeters, so he wanted to be sure. And of course, I don't know. I don't know every single pressure washer in the world, and so I had to have a 15-minute conversation for somebody who bought nothing, and spent some had Tommy responding to him. So yeah, stop freaking calling me, people. Stop calling. Don't do it. Not that I'm comparing myself to Jeff Bezos, but you get to call the owner of every company and ask him about a coupler. Gosh, I understand. They don't think they're calling to talk to me, so I always kind of mess with them. I'm usually pretty nice, depending on what kind of mood I'm in, but you like to mess with them a little bit.
All right, so here's the thumbnail from today that Bryce created. It's good stuff. You see in your hands there, you have larger than life zebra cakes.
Yeah.
Which also Jeremy, who stopped in to visit today from Tennessee, brought you some zebra cakes. So thanks, Jeremy.
I'm not eating them. I went off the deep end though. I went to lunch with the media bros.
Did you go to Mission Barbecue?
And the tech support bros. We're not calling it that anymore. What are we calling it? The
studio.
Yeah, the studio bros and the crap. We're not doing a good job of branding our bros.
We don't even know our own brand.
Cakes just blew us up.
We might still be doing that.
Oh, wait. Are we live? Let's wait. Okay, it went black. The zebra cakes just sabotaged our feed. Oh, we're back. No, wait. Yeah, we're back.
Okay,
we're back. As soon as the zebra cakes lifted off, we're back.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I just tossed the zebra cakes and they landed on the
cord.
Yeah, they're sabotaging us.
So, see, they sabotage you more ways than one. But thank you, Jeremy. Somebody will eat them. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Our buddy Brian in California is giving us grief for actually being on time today.
Yeah,
right
we're gonna be quitting early because I got a lot to do to get moving here.
There's a lot going on next door. Ken says he's coming down from Gainesville.
Cool.
Nice, go on down. You need zebra cakes in the shape of a hex. They already are, aren't they?
No one bring me zebra cakes. I don't need any. They'll be all melty and gross. It's going to be hot.
Yeah, it's going to be warm.
Oh, man, it's going to be terrible.
Be ready for that.
We're going to have to, open up the buildings because the yarn building and the air conditioning is not really functional yet because there's gaping holes in the building still. So,
Florida people you already know, but if you're coming from somewhere other than Florida, just be prepared for
you're going to have to take a shower at 2 p.m. No showers provided.
All right, let's see. Sean wants to know, have you decided to sacrifice the GT4 now that the E46 is here?
No, I'm keeping it. Yeah, I'm going to keep. I think I'm going to keep them all. Sad news. The Highlands home, no dice. We went back and forth. I guess I can share with you the numbers now. I'm sure this will get me in trouble, but they bought the house for $2.13 million. The only way I can make this work is if I was going to rent it out, right? So I wasn't buying a $2.5 million house, and so it just seemed like the house, so houses in the Highlands have appreciated, 13-14% over the last year on average, and of course many people are going and buying cash. I'm not doing that. I'm getting a loan, and setting up a separate corporation, and then we're going to set up this, borrow my house for money. By the way, this isn't dead. That house is dead. But there's nothing for sale other than yellow wood houses everywhere. So we're gonna keep searching. But we want to be in the Highlands. That's we want to be. So that exercise wasn't a waste of time. I did like that house, but they bought the house for $2.13 million in July of last year, 2020. And of course, real estate is appreciated. So I did a quick calculation. They're asking 2.85. 10 months later. We started this process in late May. So 10 months later, they're asking $2.85 million, which is a 34% difference in price. I just knew there's no frickin' way it's going to appraise, and that's what it's worth. Now, of course, someone could come in and pay cash, but I would argue most people that come in and pay cash are going to want a better deal than somebody who's getting a loan. And so, I have my pre-approvals, the bank's all set up, all that stuff, and so I offered 2.3. knowing that it's worth about 2.3, which would have been an 8% difference over what they paid for it 12 months ago, which would have been the most solid comp for the house as the previous sale of the house in such a short time frame. And so they didn't counter. So that's way too low. And so I took the risk to save myself $500-600 in that I don't think it's going to appraise. So why don't I do this? Why don't I just order an appraisal? Well, appraisals are $300, right? Because it's a freaking nonsense. Well, not now because there's so much demand. Appraisal's $2,000 for the same garbage appraisal. So the freaking moron appraisers are morons. They're like the compliance officers of the world. They're like the bean counters, the people who have zero value. But we need them. They're like the gatekeeper. You need them to allow this whole process to work, which is nonsense. But anyway, we need these morons to come in and do nothing and just have this boilerplate report, take a couple of crappy, I don't know how they get such crappy photos. Like, how is it even possible? Like, they have to downgrade their iPhone. They have to use like an old Motorola Razr camera phone in order to generate this garbage report that they give you. And now it's $2,000. And by the way, this appraisal took 2.5 months to get, or 2 months to get. Actually, it was more like a month. I'm exaggerating, but the 2,000 is an exaggeration. So anyway, I get the appraisal back and go to the appraisal, say 2.296 million, or 2.294. I offer 2.3. That's what I thought it was worth, and it was 2.294, $6,000 difference. Well, what do you know? And now we could get another appraisal and another appraisal. And so, of course, the owners, now, there's not really any arguing back and forth, just the realtors talking. That appraisal's no good, right? In the history of ever, every seller ever believes that the appraisal is no good because my home is unique and better and blah, blah, blah. And so those homes aren't really comparable. So anyway, they offered they came down to 2.65, and I said I'm in 2.3, and I'll buy the furniture separately. And they said no, so deal's dead. So that's where we're at. So that house is out. I said, look, my offer stands. If you want to sell it, let me know. No one's buying it for 2.65 unless someone really stupid comes in and does that. And that's where we're at. And I wasn't even asking for a discount. Just pay what it's worth. And but again, they'd argue that the assessment of worth is no good. I don't disagree. The assessment of worth that we use in a real estate market is no good. It's garbage. And by the way, that was me paying for an appraisal, and usually those appraisals generally are more favorable than the appraisals that you get from the bank. So, yeah, no house. I was way above. I'm looking for like $1 million house here in order to make the numbers really work. But we were going way above and beyond because of how great that area is and what I think that house could rent for. But yeah, so that's dead. So I'm feeling a little flush, and so I'm going to keep the GT4. So that's where we're at.
All right, let's see. We have a question here about open house. It is tomorrow, which, depending on where you're listening, is Saturday, July 31st. Here in Lady Lake, Florida, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So that's when and where. 322 Oak Street, Lady Lake, Florida. It's on the website. Brian wants to know, hey, Matt, is that an iPhone Max that you have there?
Yeah, iPhone 12 Max.
All right, let's see here. Have you tried any more have you tested out any more Shine Supply products? Besides...
Wait, this is iPhone 12 Pro Max, right? Yeah, whatever.
I don't know.
No,
just that one. Let's see. Matt in the chat wants to know, do you recommend the QuickJack for those of us living in rentals with garages that can't drill into the concrete?
That thing's garbage. I'd rather use a regular jack and jack stands than that thing. It's just you got to put it somewhere. So you don't have any room, and so you got these 90-pound monstrosities you got to do something with that don't. It's just not good. It lifts it up like frickin' this high. I don't understand the point. I would rather have race ramps, but then you got to put those somewhere. And so until I could get a real lift, I would just use jacks and jack stands. Actually, jacks and Rhino ramps work really well. That's what I used for years. So I think I know people love that thing, but that's the typical. It's pretty typical. People love Flexzilla. I mean, it's garbage. So no, I wouldn't recommend it.
All right, Ghost Images said, just received my LED 6 bulb fixtures in the mail today. Wondering if I should mount the lights parallel to the side walls in my garage or perpendicular.
It really doesn't matter. Whichever way you can get the best symmetry. Symmetry doesn't really matter for light dispersion as much as it does just for looks when you're walking in the room. Although I did learn, because I have zero symmetry in these monstrosity of fixtures that I have in my garage now, and it doesn't even matter. It looks frickin'. You don't even notice it because the lighting is so great. The quality of the light is so great. So I don't think it matters much. I generally like to mount them. If your garage is long, which most people's garages are long, I would mount them long with the garage. So I would mount them, if you're looking at the garage, they'd be horizontal, or I guess in parallel to the length. If your garage is deep, then I would probably mount them the other way, where they were in parallel to the depth. So that's what I would recommend. But it's not super critical. You just lay them on the floor and take a guess.
All right, let's see here. MIG says, or MJG, sorry. Hopefully the Chrysler pressure washers will be back on shelf soon, so you can ship those out. They're coming in slowly but surely. It's going to be a little while, MJG. But
yeah, that's life. That's the world we live. I've been fighting the fight. Hoses, detailing supply, everything is...
furniture, appliances. It took you 6 months to get some of your appliances.
Yep. But, I paid for the appliances and just waited. I want them. I want to get my spot in line. If I had waited, I would still be waiting, twice as long. If I had waited 3 months, then I would be waiting 12 months. So I think the way to go is going to be to lock your spots down. We're going to really start to focus in and have to figure that out on how to, get people spots, keep us in business, and that, having you pay and then lock your spot down, and we'll be, very judicious about who, gets their stuff, in timely fashion and in order. And I think that's going to be the world we're going to live for till, I would guess, the end of next year would be my wager. Not this year, end of next year.
All right, Brandon here in the chat says he visited OG in June. Everyone was kind and professional. There you go. That's us. What's the ETA on 35 and 100-foot garden hose? That's also, we're not real sure. Unfortunately, our supplier has to get yarn, actually. We should have saved all that yarn next door to make the hoses.
I think it's a different kind of yarn.
You see, that's another thing we're just kind of waiting on. Sorry, Brandon. Epiphany has a good question here. Someone asked me this the other day. Is there any reason the old gym sign is still on the door over on that side of the building? Every time I see it in a video, I'm surprised that it's still there.
Well, it says dialed in on it.
Yeah,
so
it just
like
says dialed in. It doesn't identify the gym.
It's the same hex, so it looks cool. So that's why I left it there. And it's also a good sunshade.
All right, let's see. Oh, QuickJack is in the chat here. They said, "Oh, Matt, we still love you."
They know I'm right. But they're appealing. They're appealing to what everybody wants. It's just that everybody wants the wrong stuff. It's just the world. So they're way smarter than me. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't appeal to regular people and what they want, which is nonsense. And so that's just the way it goes. Everybody wants some fart machine, new BMW. That's like the dream, to have a farting car with stupid cracks and pops. That's what people want. So guess what the car manufacturers are going to give them? What they want. The problem is they don't know the right thing to want. That's my job, is to teach people to want the right thing. Get a Benpack SP7X. Problem solved.
All right, let's see here. Cody says, any thoughts on renting out the dry ice machines? 10K would be a bit much, but would love to rent one for a week or so.
I don't know. Logistically, that'd be a little difficult,
Yeah.
but maybe. I mean, that could be a pretty profitable game.
Maybe I'll buy one and rent it out.
Yeah,
Cody.
I mean, because you would get like a Pelican case for it, and you ship it wherever it needs to go, and you could set it up to where make sure people, you could sell them the ice too if we ever get to the point where we're manufacturing ice, and so that is something that I'm sure we could kind of figure out, which would be I think it would have to be pretty expensive. But I think if somebody was doing a project and really needed it, spend $500 to rent the thing or $1,000 to rent it, it might be worth it. I don't know.
Well, let's see here from Michael in the chat. Any update on Cree Lighting Solutions in the store?
Ooh, yeah. I cannot explain to you how freaking complicated this is to get this done. I've just finished the spreadsheet, and I just submitted the purchase for the yarn building, because the lights I bought for my house, I paid like retail for them. And here, I'm trying to become one of the biggest purchasers of Cree lighting in the country, which I'm certain we're going to be. And the difficulty has been getting. So I got approved to be able to sell the Cree stuff, but I was buying it at retail. So what am I going to do? Am I going to buy it and sell it for zero profit? It makes no sense. And so I finally got to like Cree corporate, and long story, but anyway, through 37 phone calls and emails and 3 years of fighting and clawing, we are now I have actual margins. So they have a manufacturer or whatever, MAP pricing, whatever MAP stands for. What is the MAP?
Minimum advertised price.
Minimum advertised price. So we have margins off of the MAP, so below MAP. And then it doesn't generally sell for MAP. It generally sells above MAP. The way they do it, their MAP is so low that there aren't a lot of margins. If you were to sell it at MAP, and so we're going to sell it for some reasonable profit percentage, 30-40%, something like that. And so the stuff is going to. I'm telling you guys, we're going to change the frickin' world here. No more garbage hex lights. I see more and more, and you idiots got to stop buying this junk. I'm telling you, mark my words, in 3 years, you're going to walk into your garage and say, what was I thinking? You've got to fight that dude urge to put stickers all over your refrigerator and to put, and to put Amazon Alexas everywhere. You've got to fight that, because you're gonna regret it. You're going to regret that decision to wear jeans that come to halfway down your ankle that are super tight. You're going to regret that decision someday. You're going to be like, what was I thinking? Why don't I just get some jeans that fit and I don't look like a total loser? To try to look like I'm not a loser makes you be a loser. So same thing with hex lights. Those lights are they're like the cheapest Chinese garbage that you could get your hands on, that happen to be configured in a fashion where you can kind of zip tie them together, and then you see people always have them. If a light is plugged in your garage, like if it's plugged into a regular outlet, you're gone wrong, because there's no such thing as a good light that plugs in, a good overhead light. In fact, the good lights require control. They require 0 to 10 volt control or something like that. So Cree lighting is this is kind of like Milwaukee. I have to pick one because the fight is so difficult to convince them to let me break into this industry. They don't have a pricing guide. Right? There's no catalog that says here's what this stuff. There's no pricing guide for MAP. There's no pricing guide. I'm sure there is, but it's not published and no one's allowed to have it. It's like they have all these systems and all these teams and all these departments, because generally the way lighting works is that you hire, you have an electrician. The electrician hires a lighting architect, if you will, or a light designer, and the light designer then has an account with Cree, and then they submit for a lighting calc and then a quote, and then they get a quote, and then they charge a spread on top of that. It's kind of like the high-end interior design, but that's what you do with lights. And so my argument to them was the only reason I got in, I said, look, this is an audience that no one, there's no overlap. Because I've wanted to buy Cree lights for my garage for a decade. I don't know why Cree. It just seems like the right thing, right? And Cree was kind of the first, and they're sort of on the forefront of quality LED lighting. And so I'm a customer, but I don't know how to be a customer. That was my argument to him. So I want to buy Cree lights. I want to buy LS8s and LS4 fixtures, round fixtures for my garage. And I've done a lot of work. You guys have done a decent job of providing us with spec sheets. But I gotta read the spec sheet, and half of it I don't understand. Like what is SmartCast, and what kind of end caps do you need, and they have all these model numbers and all that stuff, which a lighting designer who's spent a lot of time and bought and tried a lot of the stuff would figure out. And so I said to him, so I'm your customer. I want these pictures. Where do I go? I'm ready. Here's my credit card. Here's cash. Here's a gold coin, whatever you want. Here's some Bitcoin, whatever you need, however you want money. Here's my watch. Here's the shirt off my back. Here's my soul. I will sell you my soul. I will provide you my soul and my undying love and attention for the rest of your life. I want to buy LS8s and LS4s. Where do I get them? Crickets. Nothing. No one. The way that they sell them is they have people, driving around all over the country trying to sell to every BMW dealership, and there's 9 different companies trying to sell to every BMW dealership, and they're living on these contracts where they do $100,000 of lights, and that's how they do it. And then of course they have a big contract with Home Depot to sell the garbage Cree stuff, the stuff that they've mass produced, the Chinese mass produced stuff. And that's how they have a multi-billion-dollar company. And so here's me saying, look, I want your best stuff, and they're saying, get out of here, you little flea, get out of here. I think I'm going to change the way they think about things. I'm going to get some people in trouble, and I'm going to get some people praised, because there's that fine line of you look up ZR2X2MT. That would be a recessed troffer. Well, I learned the hard way, and I wanted to mount the ZR22MT on my ceiling, so I found the ceiling mount, like the little enclosure, and you saw what they look like in my house. It's freaking 6 inches deep. So I got this tiny little thin little LED fixture. Well, the reason it's so deep is because they run hot, because they're super high quality lights, and so they need that ventilation in order to meet code throughout all the different counties. I don't give a crap about code. I just want light in my garage. And so now, and I learned the hard way through spending $4,000 for lights for my garage. It was $3,900. That's not the right one if you want to mount it right on the
flush mount.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Bob the Builder has a question from Instagram. What was the reason for using Cree troffer lights in your garage over, I don't know if that's supposed to be Cree again, or Crez high, low bay lights? I'm in the process of building a garage with 13 feet ceilings and looking for ceiling lights to be mounted around my lift. Yeah, so I don't like the look of like a traditional warehouse type high bay fixture. He's talking about like the big circles, those big dome thingies. That's an option. I wanted something to look sleek and flush looking, but I also didn't have the ability to flush mount. I didn't want to do like 1,000 frickin' recessed lights either. They don't provide the sort of coverage that you would want, I think, in the garage. And so troffers seemed like the way to go. What I didn't realize is that what we're putting in the yarn building are linear fixtures. They're just straight line fixtures, and they have a dome lens on them, and so it actually has light dispersion beyond 100 and 180 degrees, and so it should cover all the way up from the it'll paint from the wall all the way down, so we shouldn't have any hot spots or shadowy spots. And so I think in a garage like that, I think linear fixtures or actually I'm looking at, instead of the ZR troffers, we're probably going to be doing CR troffers. So in a garage where you're designing it, you'd frame it out where you would probably do 1x4 fixtures, 2x2s and 1x4s, and you'd recess them between your 24 inch on center, 16 inch on center trusses. And you would design it so that you could have it set up symmetrically. The CR troffers, I found out, are color shifting with their SmartCast controller, which is via an app. You can color shift from 2,000 to 6,000 Kelvin,
which would be freaking amazing. Imagine you could change the color temp depending on what you're doing in there at 93, 94 CRI, like, and not Amazon 90 CRI, real CRI. I think R9 is the hardest for LEDs to produce, and so they have a high, probably an R9 in the 60s to 70s. Which they're overall, if you look across the entire color spectrum, I think they use 12 different R values to give you the full color spectrum. And so Cree is giving you a CRI across the full color gamut, kind of like Scan Grip, instead of it's like pressure washers, giving you some bull crap rating at the head on the moon with zero gravity, and plugged into a 200 amp outlet. So with no resistance, and the resistance doesn't exist, and so that we're going to have a full suite. I also am going to chase DRF lighting too for the garage as well. DRF is another company, but let's get Cree locked down first, and I'll use Cree to get DRF, and then we're going to have really sophisticated, really amazing. And I tell you what, a ZR troffer, a CR troffer, they're like $150. Retail. It's not bad at all. Like a 1x4 or like the linear trough. Actually, I'm sorry, they're a little bit more expensive. They're probably about $200 if we do the MT, that 90 CRI version. But the linear fixtures I'm putting in the garage next doors are like $130 a piece for a 4-foot light. So it's really gonna be amazing. And the lights we sell, the ones that the high bay fixture we sell, also still make sense in certain instances. But yeah, I'm telling you. And then we're going to have Lutron. We're going to have a full suite of control. And then I'm also, going to have lights for your house as well, because you can't find those anywhere.
We have an update from last week. You might recall the conversation with Steven, who is the big guy, who lost 120 pounds. And he was kind of between 3X and 4X. So he went and bought all of our 3X shirts. And he says, here's a short but sweet Big Guy OG merch review. 3X fits beautifully if you're on that line between 3X and 4X. So that's good to know, Steve.
Be careful not to shrink it.
Yeah, don't dry them. Hang them up to dry. So yeah, he bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different 3XL shirts.
That's my kind of guy.
Nice, Steven.
He's my argument for when I first started this, and I was going to have a fulfillment company do this. And I was adamant that I wanted American Apparel shirts, and we'd agreed that they would do that instead of printing on some garbage like Next Level or Canvas. No, man. Canvas is the same as American Apparel. This is when American Apparel was, standalone. Now we do Los Angeles Apparel. I'm telling you, it's the same. And so I convinced them that's not the case. And so then we agreed on it. And then I went in and did a mock order, and I wanted to order 3 shirts, and it was like $120 to ship. And they're like, well, no one ever orders more than 1 shirt. I said, my people frickin' do, you idiots. And so that's when I, thankfully, started built the Shopify store and told them to get lost.
There you go. So thanks, Steven. That's awesome. And keep up the good work on the weight loss. Soon you'll be down in 2XL territory. Let's see. Steve Rose here in the chat. No Swiss tracks for your home garage? Not a fan anymore? No, you're doing Swiss tracks in your garage.
Yeah, I just don't want to do it until I cut the floor, because I'm going to, when we cut the floor, it's going to make a giant mess of concrete dust everywhere, even with a wet saw. So yeah, I'm just waiting to do Mike and I are going to cut the floor in a few weeks.
All right, let's see. Our buddy Seth in Chicago says, hey, Matt and Chris, I bought a 2018 BMW X5M for a daily driver. I want to replace the front headlights for pitting. Do you know if you can just replace the lens on BMW lights?
Not very well. You could. You put them in the oven, and you get the glue to lighten, loosen up, and you can kind of pull them apart, but you're probably never going to seal it back up right. So the right thing to do is you just buy the raw headlight and transfer over the ballasts, the xenon, or I think that was probably a bi-xenon. You transfer over the lens and all of that stuff. So yeah, a couple G's, $2,000-$3,000. You're gonna have to buy some new OE lights.
All right, Kevin here in the chat, he asked something. I saw an email you got about something similar to this earlier. What's your thoughts about selling my M4 on Carvana or to a dealer? They're offering crazy money for used cars right now.
Well, this is one of those things. It's like you sell your house, where are you going to live? Right? So you sell your car, what are you going to buy? You're going to buy something else, and guess what? You're going to have to pay a premium above the premium that you're getting to sell it. Now, if you're going to sell it in park yourself, not your car, I guess, if you sell the car, then what are you going to do? I get, you sell your car off. Now, if you're like me and you got 7 or 8 cars and you're going to go down to 2 and they're, worth more than what you paid for them, maybe you cash out. I just don't live life that way. I want the cars. The money, whatever. I'll figure out a way to make more money some other way. So, but that I get how it can be real enticing to chase, returns. And if you chased return on everything in your life, and you'd probably be pretty rich by the end of the day. But I talked about this on Inside the Hex. Is that video up yet? The investment video?
Yes.
The there's a difference between being interested in investing and making a profit versus being passionate about it. And I've struggled, and I struggled mightily for years with all these people that were interested in investing, but they weren't passionate about it. Shoot, I was at the very low subset of having a passion for learning about investing, and that's what I did for a living. And so I would call it low level passion. I would have been much more successful if I had the same passion that I have now for a pressure washer hose. Now I'm chasing that thing down. I've got calls into China and everywhere trying to find some gosh darn pressure washer hose that's great. And so I just think that that unless you're really passionate about a nickel and diming, I'm not saying that's wrong to go out and chase deals on both the sell side and the buy side. I just think you're going to lose trying to time things in life more than you're going to win if you're just interested in that. Everybody's interested in being rich and having lots of money. Everybody's interested in buying a stock and making a good return. But are you passionate enough to learn what you would need to learn and try enough times and diversify enough? And then when you diversify away that big winner because you have a big loser that offsets that big winner. I just think that I think you skip those games, playing those games of, hey, I could sell my M4 to CarMax and I could drive a Yugo. Because what will likely happen is you're going to sell the M4, you're going to be driving a Chevy Cruze around for like 3 weeks, and you'll be like, this sucks. And you're going to go buy another M4 that wasn't as nice as yours for more money than what you sold yours for. That's what generally happens with people and chasing things that have an interest in getting rich rather than a passion for it.
All right, we have a super chat here from Shaz29. It's a little long. This one may be better suited for an email, but I'll run it by you anyway here. He says, I already own the M12 fuel hammer drill.
Yep.
I'm ready to buy the following 3 tools. M12 fuel 1/4-inch hex impact driver.
Yep.
M18 fuel 1/2 mid-torque impact wrench with friction ring.
Good move.
And M18 fuel oscillating multi-tool.
That's a great combo. Those 4 tools will really solve a lot of problems.
Okay. I want to get 5 additional tools on top of these. Which would you recommend I go for? They're for use around the home, cars. I'm not a professional.
Yep.
Can you talk about what batteries, chargers, kits to get with the potentially 8 new tools? I would like to do one big purchase and get everything, but I don't want too many extra batteries and chargers.
You definitely want a circular saw, and I would go with the 6.5-inch, not the rear D handle or the rear handle one. So you want a circular saw. Definitely want that. Let's see. I think you want... Let me think about what else you would want next. I need 2 more on top of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Remember, we don't want too many chargers or batteries or kits or whatever. So,
yeah, I mean, I would buy just buy the
batteries.
These tools, every one of them, all 8 of them. I would just buy the kit, and then when you start to add to those 8 in the future, maybe you start to buy some tool onlys. Because this will set you up with enough batteries to solve for the next. So that would give you 16 batteries. So your next 8 tools I would buy, without batteries. Let's see. So he's got the M12, M18 mid-torque. He's got that. He's got a circular saw.
The oscillating multi-tool.
Yeah, that's a great thing to have. I think you probably want to next add the big drill. Because he has the M12. I think the combo of the M18 and the M12, I think you want both. I use them equally, the same amount. And so that's the next tool. Even though there's a bit of redundancy there, I'm telling you, there's a lot of times that the M12 just doesn't have enough to get it done. And having the two, I think it would be important. Whereas let's see, he's got the mid-torque, he's got the M12 fuel, the quarter-inch. The quarter-inch can get most driving done. I'm going to want an M18 quarter-inch as well at some point. But you could just put something on the mid-torque and use that if you needed to drive something in, super hardcore. A circular saw, a jigsaw you're going to want at some point, and a sawzall you're going to want at some point. But I find that I don't use those quite as much. What am I missing here? You got all the ratchets, you got the stubbies. I think I'd probably want a 3/8 inch high-speed ratchet. And I would probably do the long neck, which isn't the high speed. I take that back. So I would do the 3/8 non-extended, so the regular 3/8 high speed, because I'm sure the long reach will become high speed at some point too. So I'd do the 3/8 high speed ratchet. You're going to use that a lot as well. So those would be the tools.
All right, there you go, Shaz.
And get them all. Actually, to take it back, don't get them all in a kit. Don't get the ratchet in a kit because it's not a good value. It comes with one battery, and you don't need all these darn chargers. And then your next purchase would be get the what's that charger? The 6 charger. It's like 3 front, 3 in back. I think it's the rapid charger. It's called.
All right, let's see here. We have from Kevin in the chat. Does the active VE52 run on a 15 amp outlet?
Yep. Yeah, no problem.
What about when you add a foam cannon?
Yep, no problem.
Still no problem.
Just use a 1.25 millimeter orifice. Plenty of output to run on that. Don't run on a 1.1. Run a 4.0 nozzle on it. It runs just fine.
TC24 wants to know, hey, Matt, when are you visiting and filming at the LZ compound?
I don't know. I'll have to go out there at some point soon. I got to go out.
All right, Ryan Ross in the chat says, hey, guys, just wanted to let you know that the OSFA I ordered last week really does work magic on my stinky old exhaust that was left outside behind my shed for 3 years, and it looks almost new again.
It's freaking awesome. It smells kind of weird, but it's great.
Our friend Jeff out in Oregon says he's impressed with your athletic footwear choice in the videos as of late. So he must be wearing Nikes. What do you got on today?
Oh, yeah, I got it. Pegasus 30-something. It's 36s on right now. It's because I freaking pretty much ruined my knee.
Can't walk. A couple people were asking about the OG Olympics and if that was still a go tomorrow.
I shouldn't have talked trash because like a day later I couldn't walk, and it wasn't from doing the box jump. So sad. I think I tore my meniscus again.
Yeah, so no OG Olympics in the foreseeable future.
I was talking way too much trash, and that's the universe humbling me,
Now's your chance to beat him in a race if you've ever wanted to race him.
Right, I never said I'd run fast. I can run faster long distance, but not
mile.
Yeah, if we're doing 100, most people are gonna beat me. I'm not very fast at all. In my head, I'm fast, but in the real world, I know I'm not.
All right, from Spencer here on Facebook, who right now is in a plane somewhere, according to the chat. Any products in the future that you want to chase after and replace detailing product-wise? New clay lube, decon soap, glass coatings, etc.?
Not really. We've made a pretty significant revamp, made some changes, but there isn't anything at the moment that I can think of that we would really need to swap out. Everything's functioning pretty well, and I don't think there's anything that I really want to get rid of.
All right, Tyler on Facebook says, hey, Matt, after watching your video on the Panasonic FV0511 VK2 fan, I ordered and installed one. I'll be replacing all the other fans in the house now. Great find.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Let's see. Alex says, I know you're diving in on audio. Have you contacted Macintosh at all? I see they have more online dealers now and are slowly adding more products to be available for purchase online.
I love Mac, but I don't think it really applies to what I'm attempting to do here. The reason why I chose NAD is because they're sort of on the forefront of streaming. And I think streaming is what we really need for the garage. So, and then, Dyne Audio Studio monitors are so freaking fantastic. I'm going to start to do some... So the NAD and Blue Sound stuff is starting to roll in, so I'm going to ramp up the discussion and start to build the packages for audio. And then, my PSB speakers are coming, and I got to get back on the horn with SVS to re-engage there. Hopefully we can have SVS so we can have some, realistic, reliable, lower priced speakers.
All right, Jason wants to know in the chat here, have you been watching any of the CrossFit games?
Oh yeah, everything. I love it. The team stuff, I only watch the Heat 4 or whatever, the final heat, but all the other stuff I'm watching. Yeah, it's fun.
All right, Daniel on Facebook. Ooh, a shout out to me for the monthly blender bottle tip. I guess he signed up. Got so many fun colors without the unwashable stink from old bottles.
Yeah, you get a bunch of girl colors. I don't want that crap.
My subscription ran out.
I don't want any mysteries. I want what I want.
And the OG blender bottle, we're like a week or two out now, supposedly.
Ooh,
so
yeah,
I'm ready for that.
So I'm not gonna need any. I'm gonna throw away all my blender bottles and have just the Obsessed Garage version.
All right, Fantastic Man on Instagram says, shout out to Brad B at OG. Last week I was able to participate in a customer survey and had a great talk with him. He even emailed me some things I was interested in after the survey. Top notch.
Cool. Yeah, so we're going to be making that transition from a fake company to a real company. Right? It's going to be a slow and arduous transition, but yeah, there's a lot of things we leave on the table by just doing organics, just me telling you what to do and you believing it, and so we're going to have a lot more engaging customer experience on the website, to not to be a freaking annoying. That's a key requisite for me, is not hammer you with a bunch of garbage. But to do it right, and to take that extra step to do it really great.
We have a question here from FazG37 on Instagram. Do you know if MTM is coming out with a new foam cannon anytime soon?
I don't think so.
22.2 is it for a while?
I think, yeah. I mean, it's on the docket for them, but I haven't seen anything.
All right, C. Costain on Instagram says, why did you go for the Alpine White E46 over the Estoril Blue one that EAG had for sale?
I think that blue one has a gray interior. Just the deal breaker for me.
Let's see. AJ Shanks, Alex wants to know, hey, Matt, 2 questions, if I may. Have you had any thoughts about developing the lot next to your old Woodgate house?
Yeah, somebody owns it, though, and it's not for sale. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to get it. But that would be something I would like to do. But right now, I want to finish these projects, and I guarantee it won't be long before I start seeking out. It depends on if I start to get some Destination OG properties, that'll keep me preoccupied. Because once I finish my garage and the kitchen is almost just coming together, I got my fridge, and got my dishwasher, and so once that all starts to round out together, then I'm sure I'm gonna want some new project.
All right, back to Milwaukee here for a second. Maybe Sonic. R.316 wants to know, is the Michelle toolbox still in the works? My wife needs her own because my stuff keeps coming up missing.
Yeah, so next step is to do tool grid of all the individual Sonic tools in my garage at my house. So after we do the lift and the floors, get the thing painted in the garage doors, and start to dig into organizing the drawers. Which means then I'm going to start to organize the tool packages that I'm going to be selling, and then we'll create the wife kit and the track bag and all of those things, and then we'll start to categorize and figure all that stuff out. So that's the interim, say 12-month plan.
All right, hey Matt, do you have any suggestions on how to light up a driveway better to wash cars at night?
Yeah, I'm going to be working on that soon because I'd like to do that with mine. I want to basically be able to paint a rectangle around the car, but be able to turn those off whenever I'm not washing. So I'm going to have a solution for that. Cree has some really amazing outdoor stuff. I'm looking to sort of tuck something up under the soffit, on my roof line, and so yeah, I'm gonna figure that out.
All right, back to Alex's other question here. What would be your recommendation for a single layer coating?
I don't know. I don't really like many of them that are single. Probably Seacorts UK 3.0.
All right, Jack says here in the chat, love the new EAG Alpine White E46. Heard you mention you want to put in BMW performance seats.
Yep.
Is that Recaro Sportster CS or OE BMW CSL seats?
The OE BMW, like the M Performance, the ones that say M Performance on them. There's a guy who reconditions those. And I think he's in Poland or something like that. So I'm gonna be importing a set of those at some point. I think I'm gonna have him do like some sort of really subtle, like a blue stitching to them.
All right, Frankenstein Garage says, hey fellas, in your home garage with the woofers being mounted inside the sidewalls, are there any worries of vibrations on the wall or window?
No, I'm only having a little bit of vibration on the Cree, the little fixtures that for the recessed lights. They kind of snap in place, and so I'm gonna have to do some like trim around or put some like foam up in there to keep them from vibrating. But no other issue.
All right, Mike Naughton on Instagram says, are there any American cars you'd get outside of the Raptor and GT350, new or old?
No.
You
No.
did say last week Pontiac Aztec.
I've been looking at doing an APG Ford Ranger. I think that would be
we
freaking
talked
cool.
about that too. That was cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Subi Dude wants to know, hey, Matt, what's your workout regiment consist of? How are the meal prepping and planning working out? I've been thinking about doing the same thing.
I don't want to talk about it.
Sorry, Subi.
I'll be back next week. I'm going to just, for a while, I think I'm going to have to just lift, like do some regular stuff for a while because I freaking pretty sure I blew out my knee.
We have a greeting from Indonesia in the chat here. I'm a big fan of OG from Widigya. I probably said that incorrectly. Sorry. Christopher wants to know, when is the next giveaway? You mentioned October, right?
I'd like to. Yeah, I'd like to do a garage giveaway then.
So there you go, Christopher. Which NAD products have you excited or most interested in for the wireless streaming solutions that you're putting together?
I think the 778 receiver for if we're going to do some surround, full, surround systems in a garage. The M33 is what I'm most interested in, but that's a $5,000 2-channel integrated amp. That's what I think I'm going to put in my garage. I'm so torn because I really need to do, because I screwed up, and I don't know why I didn't think of this properly, but I pre-wired it and set it up for my bookshelf speakers to be at the full, at the extreme ends of the cabinet of the countertop. Well, it's 22 feet apart, and so there's no imaging. So if you're watching anything on TV, it looks weird. So I really got to put a center channel in, and so I think I'm going to run the 778 receiver in there instead of I'm going to run the M17 and then their 7-channel amplifier in my home theater. But I actually think the Blue Sound stuff is going to be the most popular. I think it's going to do really, really well in the garage. We do a Blue Sound power node with a set of decent, like Dynaudio Emit speakers. Going to be less than $1,500 or so for a really great stereo pair setup. And if I can get SVS to throw an SVS sub in there, I think it's going to be a good setup, good combo.
All right, Tom C in the chat here reminded you AMX Performance in Poland.
That's the guy, yep.
Yeah, there's his site. So thank you, Tom. HR wants to know, any news on the center lock nut removal tool for my GT3 yet?
They're sending me another one with a reaction arm to try out as well. So the reaction arm version would be similar to what's available on the market already, where it touches one of the spokes. And I want to kind of play with that to see, if that's viable. But no more news. I know they were really excited to see the response from it, but we'll see.
All right, Chris in the chat says, I love the CobraJet hose alternative I was given this week. My shipment comes months earlier now. Thanks, OG.
Yeah, none of those hoses are as good, and so that's what I'm having the guys. It's a real difficult thing to email, and then get responses from 90 or 100 people when we get whatever we get in. So I have a standing order with all my suppliers to just get me whatever you can get, and then I'll ask the customers. You can wait for like the traditional CobraJet, or you can opt for whatever variant we get. I had a line on 100,000 feet of hose from a company that's actually probably better than the Cobra Jet, and then turns out they only had like 16,000 feet. And so I'm getting set up. We'll share more of this in the future, but I'm getting set up to begin manufacturing, and we're getting taking steps to get there.
All right. Hi, guys. Nelson here from High Definition Window Tinting in Florida. Wondering if there's anything I can use for minor windshield scratches. Any product that you can recommend?
CarPro Siri Glass, a CarPro Rayon pad, a bottle of distilled water you can spritz on to reactivate it, and a whole lot of time. And then you can just, you can maybe improve them a little bit, but they're probably not coming out.
All right, what would be your recommended carpet extractor? Do you have an opinion on the Bissell Spot Clean?
Yeah, I don't have any experience with that at all, so I'm inclined to say no to the Bissell, but that's not the good one. I forget what the good one is. I think it's like $1,000 or something like that, or $2,500. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not the guy to ask on that one.
All right, Baron wants to know if there will be GT3 rides tomorrow at the open house.
There will not. No.
$1,000. Let's see. Kevin wants to know, hey, Matt, what are your thoughts on the future of performance cars? Do you think they're all going to be electric, or will there always be a place for gas? Would you buy an electric sports car with no sound?
Yeah. I mean, if the Roadster comes out from Tesla, I'll buy that. I think that eventually they're going to get regulated away, and we'll have to do electric, and of course there's problems with that too. But I think that we're making this transition to more sustainable energy solutions, and although an electric car I wouldn't classify as sustainable energy, because you still got to burn coal and oil to get the electricity, but it's a step in the right direction. And so I think I think that all the cars that we're so interested in will become like collective, it'll be a collection type thing, and there will be antique registration type stuff, and it'll be I think a really viable, very long-term niche market, and I think it'll make it even stronger for the people that are interested in these, because it won't be mainstream anymore. And I think that a lot of, especially like kids that are like my kids' age and younger, that live in cities and things like that, they don't want a car. So that's going to change the dynamic quite a bit. But I think that's also going to make, at least for the next 30 or 40 years, this next generation of say 10-year-olds through 90-year-olds today. I mean, as that generation turns over, I think we have a whole generation to go. So I think we have 40, 50 years where I think that that's what you're seeing, like these M cars, these BMW M cars are going to be worth zillions of dollars, because they're not going to make them like that. They're not going to be able to.
All right, a couple quick questions here, then we'll call it a day as we're approaching 3 o'clock. From, let's see, why the heck does Rupes pad logos bleed off once rinsed? It drives me nuts.
I think the logos are only on there just to, really just to identify the pads for inventory and things like that. They're not really designed to stay on long term.
All right, how long do you wait between CSL and XO application?
I wait overnight.
What is your recommended total lumens for a 29 by 20 3-car garage?
Yeah, you can't really use lumens as a specification. I guess you could, but you shouldn't. You're looking for certain foot candles output. So I think in a garage, I think you want a dimmer if you can have it. Like our lights are not dimmable. So somebody was telling me they are dimmable, just it's not as easy to do. You need the right kind of dimmer. But you want I think you want 130 foot candles, like where you're standing, which is extremely bright, and then the ability to kind of tone that down when you don't need it. So what I'm doing is I probably have 130, 140 foot candles of light in my garage, and then I dial it back 90% of the time when I'm not filming, when I'm not videoing in there. I'll dial it back quite a bit.
All right, let's see. What are your thoughts on sound bars? Any recommendations? Not really looking for full theater setup.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of great sound bars. I mean, I really like that Klipsch one that I have in Ryan's room. I forget what it's called. It's like $800 or $500 or something like that. The little Klipsch version. It's kind of fun. super efficient, works pretty well. But there's lots of great sound bars. I mean, like Martin Logan has one, and the B&W has one, and I'm really interested in this Blue Sound one. Check out the Blue Sound stuff. Pretty interesting to me. I'm going to be getting all of that to test out. So if you keep an eye out, I'll have a Blue Sound bar and all these different things where alternative to Sonos. Sonos just doesn't sound good. I don't like Sonos at all.
All right, last one here. We've addressed this a couple times, but it must be pretty popular, so we'll do it one last time here. P. Terracino wants to know, I recently purchased CQ UK 3.0 to coat my 2016 XC90. However, I live in Austin and don't have an air-conditioned garage or controlled environment in which to apply it. What would you do? Apply it outside?
No, I mean just use the UK 3.0 isn't nearly as difficult to work with as the original UK. If you tried to do that in humidity, you'd be freaking screwed. And you can try a little spot, and if it doesn't go on right, then then you can just, one thing you could do is just wax the darn thing and then wait till the winter. You're only a few months away from being able to, Austin will cool off in October. So then you'd find a day where it's going to be nice and cool, where you could decon it again, do a quick light little polishing and reapply. I would try to do it. I think it'll work. I mean, even in the humidity of the garage, just put a couple fans in there or do it early in the morning before it gets super duper hot. And it'll probably take. You'll know if it's all bubbling up and smearing around. It should still work. It just might take a long time to get it all off.
Make some friends. Go to your friend's house.
Yep.
That's a good thing, too. Okay, last one here, I promise. Any wash videos coming up this weekend or live stream from the open house? Folks at Brent House.
We won't live stream, but we will video it. I've got a video of me fixing the slightly douched Raptor, the SDR, we're going to call it. The SDR Raptor. I saw it drive, and I was driving behind it when Michelle was going. It looks terrible with those wheels. They just poke out way too far. So I just need tires. If anybody's got a line on 37, 12.5, 18, and they have them in stock, they're all terrain. So I want some freaking mud terrain bull crap. Toyo, Nitto, BFG. I don't think BFG has a 37, 12.5, and an 18 though. And so I'm looking for like a Nitto, or I ordered some Toyo. I forget what they're like. Something all-terrain 3 or something like that. I forget what the specific model is, but no Mickey Thompsons or anything like that, because they all make too much noise. So I think you want BFG, Nitto, or Toyo, and so I ordered some Toyos because they make the proper size. And I'm going to de-douche the thing. But a video for that, fixing the leaking sunroof, pouring water into the freaking into the cabin, because they didn't put, like from the factory, didn't put a drain line on the left side, on the driver's side. So I installed that, and there's no video, there are no photos, there are only things that talk about having the drain line disconnected. There's no one that has it where they didn't have a darn drain line, or lots of videos on clogged drain lines. But that'll be up tomorrow morning. Tonight will be a preparation for the open house. I'll edit that likely and put that up tonight.
All right, so thank you for all the questions. Open house tomorrow, 10 to 2.
Yep.
And we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, got to shut it down early today because I'm going to go do
Lots
some work.
to do.
Yeah.
Lots
See ya.
to do.
Thanks for watching.